I'm a filmmaker. I consider myself an independent filmmaker. So the expression independent film, it's part of a self-definition, and it's a very slippery one. But I think maybe I can express the core of it by saying it's cinema that resists the market. It's a cinema that's independent of the forces of capitalism, to use a cliche, but it's also true. And within that context, freedom. I physically feel the impact of being asked the question, and some degree of helplessness being so distant from it. But I guess what's happening now is, okay, I think if I were to distill the single most important topic of cinema, and maybe everything, for me, is the borders, physical borders and psychological borders. The border that exists between any two people, the border that exists between the different areas of one's psyche. And I feel that what cinema, where cinema has a power, is to work towards dissolving borders. And I don't want to make that sound too idealistic, because it's also in a way very dangerous. But in this particular context, it's very important. It's important that the courage that's being expressed by the image-making act reach as many people as possible. I think that cinema is always changing. I think that cinema is being right now, there's a kind of chemistry to cinema's relationship to politics and cinema's relationship to the oppressed, especially now when image making, there are other avenues of image making that are new and available. So it's, I also feel that the act of making cinema is always about one's ethos. I think that every decision that is made as a filmmaker is an ethical one. And every choice, even down to the smallest choices that we make as filmmakers, are ethical choices. And so right now, this is a world phenomenon. It's so heightened. It's so powerful. It's so important. And you know, there are new dangers that we have to face too, with the way cinema is so easily distributed. But in the context of what you're asking me, something's happening that can produce a lot of hope and a lot of I think it's a little bit dangerous. One of the dangers is the sensation of community. That is not community. And I think we also have to be on our guard to avoid that sensation from the way we're looking at these materials right now. But again, the being a witness to the courage and a witness to the crisis is so life-changing that it affects everything, the way we see who we are, what the world is. Well, it seems that way. And again, we have to be on guard because cinema is a trickster, and it's always, to a certain extent, fooling the audience. And But I think that there are certain movements in cinema that you really just have to trust. So to me, I think the question is more whether or not cinema can produce trust than whether or not it can produce truth. Oh, well, I don't know that there is, if I can sort this out as a difference existing there. I think, right now there's a very direct cinema. It's so direct, and I think maybe for the first time we can have a cinema without an archive. And maybe that possibility brings it to another level of truthfulness. I'm not sure. Just purely in the way I think of the form of cinema, you're always producing an archive and drawing from it. I'm always working on a number of things at once. And right now I'm working on the idea of kind of magical thinking and mystical thought, very different from truth. But one thing that seems to be a consistent among people that operate around mystical thought, and particularly visionaries and visionary artists, is that they all believe they see something and are driven by the frustration that other people can't see what they see. So right now I'm working on, maybe I could describe it as a set of meta portraits of visionary artists that are driven by this problem.